Happy Friday, October 24th, 2025, episode 608. This is episode 608. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys.
I love you, Poppy.
Shall we? Texas woman accused of mowing down man on first date with her Porsche blamed her expensive designer heels.
Sentencing will begin tomorrow for a woman convicted of hitting and killing a man who was on a first date in Montrose. We've been following the tragic death of Joseph McMullen since 2023. He and his date were walking along Westheimer when Christina Chambers, who investigators say was driving her Porsche at about 100 miles per hour, went off the road and ran over McMullen. A jury convicted Chambers of manslaughter today. She faces between 2 and 20 years in prison.
Good evening. In this edition of Women versus Accountability, a woman blames her shoes as the sole reason her car jumped the curb, fatally striking a man out on a date night. Well, we're sorry we didn't believe you from the very beginning, ma'am. What were we thinking? Dragging you down here to this courtroom in front of all these good people? You know what, officer? Throw those no good murdering shoes in lockup and leave this woman in peace to nurse her delusions. A wealthy Texas woman. Texas, aren't you tired of it always being you? You in Florida are like bookends at this point. Allegedly struck a man on a first date with her Porsche while heavily intoxicated, but claims her pricey Louboutin heels are to blame. So if these boots were made for walking, I guess heels are made for crashing. On the morning of April 19th, 2023, that was a Wednesday, Christina Chambers, now 34, was allegedly driving her blue Porsche 911 Carrera at 70 miles per hour. Different sources say it was 100, but we can be sure that it was in excess of 70 miles per hour when she struck Joseph McMullen, 33, as he was walking from a Houston donut shop with a woman on their first date. According to a news release from the Houston Police Department, Chambers was driving westbound near Voodoo Donut when she failed to maintain a single lane and struck a curb, the release alleges. Now, Porsches are most widely known for their steering and their ability to take turns. I don't know exactly how that would factor in for someone who's drunk and most likely high out of their mind, also trying to corner at 70 plus miles an hour, but I figured I'd throw it in there. The impact caused the vehicle to leave the roadway and strike McMullen on the sidewalk before eventually hitting a pole.
And where that curve is, if you don't turn, you're going to go up on the sidewalk, and the car wasn't going to make the turn. It was going too fast. I knew it wasn't going to make the turn, and then it was coming at us. Joe wasn't doing anything wrong. He wasn't speeding. He wasn't drinking. But he doesn't get to have a 34th birthday.
I ain't gonna hold you. She looks like one of them making my way downtown, walking fast, faces passing, I'm homebound. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Sing along, kids. Staring blankly ahead. That's because she's drunk and coked out of her mind. Her vision's impaired. Pay attention. Just making my way, making a way. Yeah, she made a way all right. Plowed straight through another human being, through the crowd. If there was a crowd, I'm pretty sure she would have bowled a strike. It's incredible how that song still holds up, isn't it? McMullen was thrown 30 feet in the air. Damn, prosecutors said. The Houston Chronicle reports paramedics pronounced McMullen deceased at the scene. Chambers and 2 passengers in the Porsche were transported to local hospitals. McMullen was a good guy taken too soon. His date, Brianna Iderino, told Fox 26 they could have been married by now. We don't even know. It's funny how an idiot can change the future. Chambers, who police allege showed signs of intoxication, was arrested and charged with second-degree manslaughter. She pleaded not guilty. guilty? Did they separate her in the shoes and make the shoes walk a straight line and give the shoes a breathalyzer? Also, during her trial, which began on Thursday, October 16th, prosecutors alleged that officers found small bags of cocaine, little Snow on the Bluff, little Curtis Snow in the backseat of Chambers' car and in her purse. The Houston Chronicle reports prosecutor Andrew Figliuzzi claimed Chambers dined at a Houston restaurant before hitting 3 bars on the night of the crash. Did you think of taking an Uber or a Lyft or something? Per the Chronicle, allegedly downing at least 6 alcoholic beverages and using cocaine. Chambers had a blood alcohol content BAC of 0.301, about 4 times. How was she even conscious? About 4 times the legal limit, and that was about an hour after the crash, so it was higher than that, authorities said, the Chronicle reports. She allegedly drove her Porsche at speeds of up to 70 miles per hour. Once again, other sources say it was 100. He claimed because she was itching to show off her sports car, Fox 26 reports. What's wild about all this is if you weren't responsible for this man's death, then who was? You were driving, weren't you? How can you sit there in that man's family's face with a BAC 4 times the legal limit and cocaine in your system and tell them that it was just some sort of freak accident? I guess being rich means never having to say you're sorry. And why is she dressed like she just put a pie on the windowsill? I don't believe this woman has a wholesome bone in her body as long as she could sit up there with a straight face and make excuses like it wasn't her fault. Calling the crash a freak accident. You were high, you were drunk, and you were speeding. You were going way over the speed limit, way over the legal alcohol limit. That is not the definition of a freak accident. Chambers' defense attorney Mark Thiessen told the jury that Chambers' Christian Louboutin heels got stuck on the gas pedal and led to the crash, according to the Chronicle. The precarious bend in the road made matters worse, so it's the road's fault now. He alleged, you see where all this is pointing to. This is one, or not pointing to. This is one of Houston's most dangerous curves. Thiessen said McMullen's family has also filed a civil lawsuit against Chambers, seeking $1 million in damages to compensate for the loss of their son. Online court records show Chambers faces 2 to 20 years in prison. That's a 20 with a 2-year stip. That 2 years is too low a number if convicted. Her attorney did not immediately respond to people's requests for comment. Of course, I love to hear your thoughts on this. I love to hear your opinions on this. They say friends don't let friends drive drunk, but what if all your friends are in the back plastered just like you are? Wouldn't that be kind of hypocritical? New Jersey officer, a recurring guest on the show, stopped at ATM and pizzeria instead of investigating double murder.
Now to some breaking news. A Franklin Township police sergeant has been charged in connection with the response to the deadly August shooting of Lawrence Amanchik and Tyler Webb. Sergeant Kevin Bellaro is now charged with official misconduct and tampering with records. He's accused of receiving a 911 call for shots fired in the area, but instead of driving in the opposite direction, he rather drove in the opposite direction to make an ATM transaction. Investigators say Samanchik's ex-boyfriend, New Jersey State Trooper Richard Santos, killed the couple before turning the gun on himself.
It's been a banner year for New Jersey law enforcement. What you thought? You let the killer work it out of his system? No sense in 3 people getting shot, right? How courageous of you. You do the badge proud. What, you get the call and figured you skip this mission, pass the showcase, take a knee, sit this one out, get yourself a slice, not too hot, completely shirking your obligations as a first responder. You were all those people had, and you decided to turn and drive in the opposite direction. A New Jersey officer has been charged with misconduct after prosecutors say he didn't quickly respond to and properly investigate reports of a shooting that turned out to be a double murder, instead stopping at an ATM and pizzeria. I can't sit here and tell you that I think it's all officers, but when you get these handful of cops that behave like this, it makes you all look terrible. Franklin Township Police Sergeant, we're talking about a veteran here, Kevin Bellaro, was the on-duty officer on the evening of August 1st when police received 911 calls reporting gunshots and screaming in Pittstown, about 60 miles from Manhattan in central New Jersey, according to Hunterdon County Prosecutor Renee Robeson's office. But rather than responding immediately immediately. Prosecutors say GPS data and surveillance video show Bellaro drove nearly 2 miles in the opposite direction of the caller's location to a bank ATM.
They have contact with all of the resources that someone who is subjected to abuse might reach out to. They have contact with all of the shelters. They know where the shelters are. They work with the shelters on a regular basis. They are in courtrooms on a regular basis. And so if you went to a judge and asked for a protective order or asked for a prosecution, these are judges and prosecutors who are working with these officers every day. They are parts of the system that we have entrusted with the safety of victims of intimate partner violence. And because they are parts of that system, it is very, very difficult to protect people whose abusers are police officers.
At this point, anything is possible. I wouldn't even put it past him and a few of his law enforcement buddies having an unofficial red flag on the house or being prompted to not respond to that address. This is too on the nose. It's almost like he knew what was going to happen and was trying to buy his cop buddy some time. Then he didn't even stop along the way. He drove 2 miles in a different direction. This has to be the most blatant, egregious dereliction of duty in recent history. Dispatchers relayed other calls from concerned neighbors as Bellaro proceeded toward their locations without activating his police vehicle's emergency lights and sirens, they said. Now, we all know you can hear sirens from a long distance away. Maybe activating the sirens, if you weren't so unfashionably late, would have shook the killer and caused him to make a mistake and leave early or cut what he had to do to get the hell out of there. When he arrived at the location of the first caller, he didn't go straight to the house. He went to the caller first. We're wasting precious minutes here. The officer told the dispatcher he didn't hear anything and said he would continue to the locations of the other callers. But Robeson's office said GPS data shows he never visited those locations before he asked the dispatcher to clear him from the scene. They say Bellaro instead headed to Duke's Pizzeria in Pittstown, where he remained for nearly an hour. There's no way you can tell me that he did not know what was going on about that house. He didn't even try to transfer the call, give the call to someone else that was definitely going to respond. Witnesses later saw him park and enter another local restaurant where he remained for roughly another hour. So that was 2 hours. That was plenty of time for this state trooper, aka the killer, to kill these two people with plenty of time to spare for him to watch an episode of Sons of Anarchy and get the hell out of the house. Bellaro later submitted a report in which prosecutors say he made false statements about the extent of his investigation. They note that during the time frame he claimed to be canvassing the area, the officer was already en route to the pizzeria.
Complete and utter failure. And failure that took place in the context of police officers being asked to be accountable for the actions of one of their own. It's something that we call the blue wall of silence or the code of blue, in which officers will take care of and protect one of their own. We believe that that is exactly what happened in this circumstance.
The total apathy and inaction that met Lauren Semanchik when she came to you, law enforcement, for help with this Lieutenant Santos, not only enabled Lieutenant Santos, it emboldened Lieutenant Santos to carry out this grisly action. You were not helping your brother. If you really wanted to help a fellow police officer, you should have forced him to seek professional help, and maybe the two sides would be alive today. Their blood is on your hands because you chose to do absolutely nothing when this woman pleaded with you for help. The following day, August 2nd, the bodies of Lauren Semanchik, 33, and Tyler Webb, 29, were found in a home roughly 600 feet away from the location of the first 911 caller. Prosecutors say the two had been shot to death by New Jersey State Police Lieutenant Ricardo Santos, who had later killed himself. Two cowards. The first coward killed himself to not face the consequences for what he'd done, and the second coward wouldn't show up for out of fear of going against the grain with his blue buddies. Bellaro has been charged with official misconduct for knowingly refraining from performing his police duties. Coward. Prosecutors said he also faces a charge of tampering with public records for knowingly making false entries in his incident report. His lawyer, Charles Sciarra, didn't immediately respond to an email seeking comment Saturday, but in a statement to the New York Post called the charges unfortunate, heartless. Good start. He maintained nothing Kevin Bellaro did or did not do that day impacted or could have stopped the killings? Who are defending you officers? If you wouldn't have drove 2 miles in the other direction, and if you wouldn't have spent 2 hours away from the crime scene, this would have looked completely different. This wouldn't even have been a story. The families of the 2 shooting victims, meanwhile, have said they are shocked at Sergeant Ballaro's egregious conduct and believe it is the tip of the iceberg of many failures by the local and state police in the killing.
Instead of doing what they were required to do, again, contact Santos's supervisors and New Jersey State Police Internal Affairs, what did they do? They actually picked up the phone and they called Santos, a lieutenant, and asked him, did you key Dr. Semanchik's car and damage it? Have you been harassing and calling her? Well, of course he denied keying her car. What lieutenant in the New Jersey State Police Department would admit to committing a crime? Although he did admit to calling her. And what did they do? They told him to back off.
Of course, I love to hear your thoughts on this. I love to hear your opinions on this. Your entire establishment, your entire law enforcement establishment gave this man a free pass and an opportunity to kill these 2 people for no other reason than he had a badge, just like you did. Bon show. The music for this episode is from Will B. Alexander. Get your music from Will B. Alexander. I'll leave the contact information down here at the bottom. If you're a producer and you would like to have your music featured on an episode of this podcast, reach out to me on any one of my socials. Don't forget to follow me on all my socials. Find me wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. I am there. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Jusqu'à la prochaine fois. I ain't gonna hold you. She looks like one of them making my way downtown, walking fast, faces passing, I'm homebound. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Sing along, children. Staring blankly ahead because she's coked up and drunk out of her mind. Her vision's impaired. Just making a way, making my way. Damn. Staring blankly ahead because she's drunk and coked up. Pay attention, kid. She can't see. Pay attention, she can't see. Sing along, kids.